Hey everyone, this is Andy Brown, head instructor and one of the owners at the Climer School of Real Estate in Orlando. And what I want to talk to you about is how to decipher and filter what's going on with the three brokerage relationship options in Florida, especially for your state exam. I guess my students appreciate the way I teach it because in my class, it's not super confusing and they get it and they all do real well at Pearson VUE. Apparently, all of the other instructors in the state of Florida have a very difficult time with this, and they told Linda Crawford, the author, that it's extraordinarily confusing and they have a hard time, so she actually changed the way she wrote it in the textbook. Now, I don't really like it, but it's her textbook, but however I was doing it, it must be different than the other instructors because it was not confusing to my students at the Climer School of Real Estate. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tidbit of what's going on and the way I communicate this with my students for your state exam at Pearson VUE. So I'm going to add a couple of things here, and it's not quite the way this is in the classroom, but I think you'll appreciate it. There's three brokerage relationship options: transaction broker, single agent, no brokerage relationship. Everybody in the state of Florida begins life when you are working with a consumer as transaction broker. It's just the way it is. Transaction broker is defined by the word and the concept limited. It's limited everything. Limited confidentiality, limited loyalty, limited, limited, limited. And if you see the word limited on your state exam, they're talking about transaction broker. It's also the reason why in Florida you could work with both sides, the seller and the buyer. You use professional character and discretion and integrity, and you don't throw one in the bus, but you can work with both of them. You also have a customer, not a client. I know it sounds like I'm splitting hairs, but I'm telling you, that's just the way it is. Don't worry about it. Single agent is a fiduciary relationship. It's a game changer. You now have a principal or a client, not a customer. And legally, you have to put the best interest of your principal or your client as number one priority, even ahead of your own best interest. Plus, here's the kicker. There are 4 new duties in single agent. Do you remember in your book COLD? Confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure. You could actually put the word 100% or full in front of any of those. But for you, for your state exam, all you got to worry about, if you see one of those 4 words, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure, they are talking about single agent and single agent only. And then no brokerage is a big fat 0, nothing, no representation like a for sale by owner. They love you so much they don't want anything to do with you. But if you bring them a buyer, right, oh, I'll pay you a commission, but they don't want your help. But you still owe them the 3 add requirements. Account for all funds, which never goes away. Deal honestly and fairly, which I really hope is self-explanatory, and disclose all known facts that affect the value or the buying decision of the residential property. All known material defects. Let your customer be the decision maker. You have to disclose those even in a single agent fiduciary relationship. If your principal or client tells you not to, that is called an illegal instruction, and you can never comply with an illegal instruction. I don't care what kind of relationship you're in. The broker gets to decide which relationship you go in and out of. That is why they call it a brokerage relationship, not a consumer relationship. Also, if you're in residential, and I'll let you worry about that, it's in the book, you know, the definition of residential. I don't want to muddy the water here. You not only have to provide those duties and obligations, but you got to give a written disclosure. The only time you don't have to give the written disclosure is when you start off life as transaction broker, which if you think about it, was a very good idea. Or you would have to walk out of the house with a big thick stack of transaction broker relationship disclosures in your back pocket. And there'd be a lot of litter in all the grocery stores and restaurants and bars and convenience stores and movie theaters and everything. You get my picture. Okay, so that's really all you got to remember. Oh, I guess there is one more little thing. They don't actually have to sign the disclosure. It's not a contract. You have to give it to them, but they do not have to sign it. And whether they sign it or not, you've got to keep it for 5 years. You know why? Because 5 years is the magic number for record keeping. It doesn't even matter what chapter, it doesn't even matter what paper you're talking about. 5 years is the magic number, even if it doesn't close. Now, there is only one disclosure that has to be signed. That's consent to transition back to transaction broker. Because apparently, for some crazy reason, you found yourself in a single agent relationship. So you're sort of hog-tied. You shot yourself in the foot. But then you met somebody at a party on a Friday night who could be the perfect buyer for your listing that's a single agent brokerage relationship. But you can't talk to them. My students know that as you want to have strawberry jelly time at the closing table. And if you want to know what strawberry jelly time means, you are going to have to come to the Climer School of Real Estate. Anyways, your client has to formally release you from your fiduciary obligations, which is no different from a doctor or a therapist or psychiatrist or an attorney. If they do not sign that consent transition, guess who's not getting strawberry jelly time? Which is really getting both sides of the deal. Anyways, I don't know if I can make it any easier, but I do hope that helps you, especially with those questions you're going to get at Pearson VUE on your state exam. You need to get 75 right. Wouldn't it be nice to get 6, if not all 7 of them correct out of your chapter 4 questions? So anyways, that's all I can think of right now. I really hope I've helped you. Do me a favor, let me know. Send me an email, andy.climereschool@gmail.com. I would love to know what you think about my explanation, especially if you did not attend the Climer School of Real Estate. And then let me know how you did at Pearson VUE, and let me know if I can help you at all. And by the way, you really ought to come to my Post 45. It is the greatest Post 45. It's not really a class, it's more of an experience. So call us 407-822-3926, and please remember, do not overthink this stuff.